out there. And if we don't have law enforcement out there, we don't have that first line of defense. So that's the reason why we're doing this. Show our officers their support. Well, yeah. Well, they want us to be like Europe. Your neighbor comes over and blows your window out of your car for parking in the wrong spot. If you don't call the police, you call an attorney and sue them. All right?
Well, I got my tax bill right here, and I'm paying for the police.
Well, they want to make it so that you don't have police to pay for. So all that money can go into thetheir special funds that they want.
Well, I got my tax bill right here that's paying for the cops.
And let's also remember. Okay, but let's also remember that these police officers are human beings too. The amount of training that we get, and then they shove us onto the streets. When we get out there, we have to become marriage counselors, child welfare advocates. We have to do social work. We have to do mental illness work. All things that we weren't trained to do, but we have to learn on the go. And you think that these guys don't put up with trauma in their life? You don't think that they've seen the worst that humanity has? These guys, and I know it because I lived it for 30 years, we swallow everything. And if I didn't have this woman right here to go home to and unload on, I would have cracked. Not everybody has that. So, thank our law enforcement officers. Now, since we are in the city of Riverview, and I really want to thank them for showing us their support, I'd like to bring up Mayor Swift to say a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Swift, City of Riverview.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. I couldn't say this an hour ago, but believe me when I say it's always sunny and 85 in Riverview. Actually, I am here on behalf of the City of Riverview, who clearly supports our police department. And if you don't mind, can you give the Riverview PD a nice round of applause on the other side of the street? They are doing their best to keep this event safe, and also we all know this is just crazy times. Just this whole year has been so weird. But one thing that is clear, it's already been mentioned several times, is we need to be safe. Year after year, Riverview is one of the top 20 safest cities in the state of Michigan, and that is because of our police department and our fire department. So I would just say, on behalf of the City of Riverview, City Council, and myself, welcome to Riverview. Stick around for a while, and good luck, and I'm glad you guys came. It was a very good turnout. Thank you very much.
Next up, I'd like to bring up Doug Reimel. Doug Reimel is the chairman of the 12th District for the Michigan Republican Party. Let him say a few words about why it is important that we support our law enforcement and our firefighters in this day and age.
How are we doing, everybody? Good. I wanted to start out with, because I was told the anti-protest was going to talk about all jobs matter. And they're absolutely correct. All jobs do matter. From the boardroom to the janitor, from the bartender to the waitress, the busboy, the clerk at the station, the banker, the businessman, you name a job, union, non-union, it's important. It matters. But you know what the difference is? The blue protects those jobs. The blue allows you to go and work every day. The blue allows you to get home and sleep in peace in your own home. And that's why we support the blue. They are important to the community. They hold the glue together. They are the ones we support, and we will not defund them. We will keep them going. On that note, Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. Do you know why? Because we're Republicans. We believe that from inception to death, to your last breath, you have the right to live and survive, and we should protect you because you're an American, you're alive, you're breathing, and everybody's life is important. And guess what? The blue is here to protect you every day of your life. That's their job. That's what they do. And that's why we protect the blue. So, I have couple more things to cover. I do have to plug a commercial here for my good friend Burl Atkins, who supplied the porta potties today. I have to do that. He's a great guy, and we should get behind him. The other thing I want to do is we need to raise money for John Poe to get him across the finish line. Yeah. And I really need you guys to reach into your wallets today and bring out some money so that we can get him across the finish line. We get a guy like John in Lansing and not someone who's never held a real job in their life, okay? So, we need John across the finish line. And my commitment to John today is this. I have $500 in my wallet right now that's going to his campaign. So I need to know who's grabbing the money for John Poe's campaign. Who's got the money for John Poe's campaign? I got $500 here. Let's go. All right, everybody, I want to thank you very much. Let's bring John across the finish line.
Well, thanks, sir.
There's my 500.
Thank you very much.
All right, folks, if you don't know, this is Joe Bolino, 17th District, Michigan State House. He came up from Monroe, didn't have to be here. He's actually missing the beginning of another event to be here to show his support for law enforcement. Joe is going to start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then he's going to have a few things to say, and he's got to scoot out of here, but I really thank you for coming, Joe.
Our flag right here.
Right in the middle.
Together. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. I'm the state rep from the 17th District. I have a little bit of Wayne County. I'm the last Republican in the Senate or House in Michigan that has a little bit of Wayne County. I've got Flat Rock, Sumter, and Rockwood. Thank you all for being here. We need to get John across the finish line because of a few things. A, Mr. Camilleri votes far left all the time, and there's no way that district is far left. His district is like mine. Mine's a blue-collar district. We believe in Jesus Christ. We believe in people working hard. Yes, we believe in a social safety net, but we want you to get a job too and raise yourself up. That's what we believe in. So we've got to get rid of Camilleri. We had a resolution in the spring to not defund police. Camilleri voted no. Only 8 Democrats voted with Republicans to not defund police. It was a symbolic resolution, but it showed just where he stands. It's amazing how the last 10 years, how the men in blue and the sheriffs in brown and other first responders have come over to our side. In the past, they hated Republicans. We didn't want to pay them. We didn't want to do this. We wanted to set up rules. But you know what? We got their back. And we get all the endorsements now. And it's incredible because we believe in people in blue. Thank you very much. One more thing. Down in Monroe, we're at 700 signatures for Unlock Michigan. Make sure you find a petition, you sign it. We're at 300,000 plus right now. We need about 360 for the SOS, but they will, good, thank you. They got rid of the Right to Life petition because they threw out a lot of stuff. We're going to give them so many petitions, about 500,000. There's no way they can throw it all out. And you know what happens when we get all the signatures and it's okay for the ballot? It ain't going to the ballot because Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader are going to let us vote on it. And it's up and down vote, simple majority. And we have the majority, and it will be law and take it out of the Constitution. And that's what's going to happen. And then we will go back to the 1976 law that says, Governor, there are 3 branches of government, we're going to work together. And that's what we're going to do. The 45 law was not made for pandemics. It was made because there were riots in Detroit, early 40s. A lot of people got killed, and the people around Detroit weren't making any changes. So we made changes to give the governor the power to make the changes. And she took that power, usurped it, and is screwing us all over, basically. So this shows you what happens when our governor, who was a minority for 14 years, and now is taken out on us. Hard-working, blue-collar Americans. So thank you for inviting me, John.
All right, folks, this gentleman came all the way down from the area up by Highland, okay? This will show you the resolve of our party. We support law enforcement. We support the working class people of this state. Doesn't matter what your color is. Doesn't matter where you come from. You are a human being. We support you. All right? This gentleman made quite a drive to come on down here. This is State Representative Matt Maddock. He's from the 44th District up by Highland, and he's got a few things to say.
Thank you, John. Hey, while Governor Whitmer sits in Lansing and she's doing her best to nullify the legislature, we are currently working. I'm on appropriations. I'm working on a transportation budget I think everyone's going to like. The goal is always to make our roads better without increasing taxes, and we're heading in that direction. I'm a bail bondsman, and I love police. We just did a study recently. Kind of funny, right? No, seriously, we did a study recently here in Wayne County, in Detroit, and we found out that 83% of all the people arrested, and they're only arresting the bad guys now because a lot of the people that are arrested for misdemeanors and small offenses are being released. But they're releasing the bad guys. 83% of them are being released with no bail whatsoever. You heard President Trump talk about last night about the elimination of bail, money bail. That's what they're trying to do. That's what the left is trying to do. They want to eliminate the police, and they want to eliminate bail. Those are two foundations of our criminal justice system, and they cannot stand without either one. So I want to talk about something interesting. I know Representative Bellino talked about the importance of maintaining the majority. We are the party of ideas and solutions. We are about to have hearings on 3 bills Tuesday that you're going to like. How many of you have stood in line at Secretary of State offices for the past, over the past 6 months for more than an hour? How many people have stood in line at the Secretary of State's office for more than 2 hours? Okay, so a lot of hands going up. We have a problem. When our Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, campaigned, she promised us that she was going to have our Secretary of State lines service in 30 minutes or less. Remember that? We have 3 bills to help her get there. Number 1, the first bill eliminates the license plate tabs, those pesky tabs we have to put in our plates every single year, right? Aren't they a pain? We really don't need them. When a police officer pulls up behind your car, a lot of them have automatic plate readers, and when they run your plate, the first thing they see is whether or not your plate is valid or not. And by the way, you've got to be about 10 feet away from a car to read those little tiny tabs to begin with, right? Guess what percentage of the people that are walking into a Secretary of State's office every day are there to get plate tabs? Well, the number is 60%, so we can cut the lines in half right there. The second bill gives us the option to renew our plates for up to 3 years in a row, if we want to. If you own a lease car in Michigan, you can do 2 years. Why not give us the option to do 3 years? And the third bill is going to allow banks and credit unions to perform limited services that the Secretary of State provides. Remember, there's a couple older people out here. Remember back in the days where you could walk into a AAA office and renew your plates? Remember those days? Similar concept. So we're working on positive solutions. This will help with COVID especially, and we need to maintain the majority for sure. So everyone, we need every hand on deck right now. And I love President Trump.
We got him ordered.
Hey, Michelle.
Everybody, do we have any Trump supporters here? I was just telling Joe, I love Poe's logo. I mean, how can you not win with that logo? So honestly, I do sit on the advisory board for the president, but I'm here right now to talk about John Poe. He is a great guy. I've had a chance to spend some time with him. And you guys, there is nothing more important than holding on to this House majority. So he needs your support. He needs all hands on deck. If you've never knocked doors before, it's really easy. It's not scary, and you'd also be helping the president. You know, nowadays it's a lot easier to knock on doors. In the old days, you'd have to go up and try to identify Republicans, Democrats, Independents. Nowadays, you just walk up wearing a MAGA hat, and they either like throw you off the front lawn with an F you scream, or they're like, hey, come on in, have a beer. So it's real easy. Yes. So anyway, if you're interested, knock doors, get a hold of John, and figure out a way to help get him over the finish line, and also to help Donald Trump. And God bless you, and thank you for everything you guys are doing, being here. What a beautiful day.
Statistics state that you have to reach your voters, especially if you're a new candidate, okay? So the statistics prove that you have to touch each voter between 8 to 10 times, and usually those touches are in the form of a mailer that you get in the mail. They're still very effective, okay? Just to send one mailer in a House district race that John's in is about $3,500 to touch the voters one time, okay? So it takes a lot of money to join a race. So if you have the wherewithal to donate to this man's campaign, the most you can give is $1,050, but every dollar is like a round of ammunition in the war we're in. So support this man.
What did you do? I don't know.
love these folks. Joe, babe, love you. These folks didn't have to be here. All right, they put other things on hold so they could be here for this, and I really appreciate the efforts, and I really appreciate the support. We're going to get Jeff Jones up here. If you don't know who Jeff is, he's running for U.S. Congress against Debbie Dingell, and let him say a few words here.
Great job.
Give him your ear. He's got some good things to say.
Thank you. Well, thanks for being here today again, for supporting the Blue and John, Poe, and everything else that's going on out here. Great appreciation. You know, there's three things that this election's about. It's going to stay about, and that's our Constitution, our community, and our heritage. And those are the three issues. Everybody tries to cloud them with a lot of other things, but it's our Constitution that makes America great. And everyone that goes to office takes an oath to that office, and I'm going to call them out that have not kept their oath. And I'll tell you, Debbie Dingell has not kept her oath that she took to office. And she's out to destroy our First Amendment, take away our Second Amendment. She supported the Fourth and Fifth removal of enforcing that, and the Ninth and Tenth she just ignores, and we don't even talk about the 14th Amendment. But you need to look those things up and be well aware that our Constitution is under attack. And so I never thought that I'd be living in the day that I even hear the statement, defund the police. I just never expected that. I'm 59 years old, and I never, ever expected to hear something like that talked about in America. But it happens little by little. Just taking away little things at a time, squelching your First Amendment rights is the start of it, robbing it and not having anybody defend it in Congress, because those that aren't defending it in Congress are just as guilty as those that attack it, right? Yeah. So we've got to do something about that, and that is by sending fresh voices to Washington, D.C. I've got 17 grandchildren now, 2 of them in the oven, so I've got 11 children. This is about community. All right, and this is my community. It's about the community for my children and my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and yours as well, and those that we haven't seen yet born, right? Yes, sir. Right. Yes. And so when we stand on those issues, you know, it's again, why I don't understand why people can't understand there's a difference between separable. You talk about me personally if you want, but my personal beliefs allow me to be the one who I am, allows America to be who they are. And it's okay. I don't care if we have a difference in belief. We stand together united. That's what the Constitution does for us. It unites us as American and not divide us. But the enemy is trying to divide us. And there's a scripture verse, and again, didn't know you're coming to church today, but in Isaiah 5:20, it says, "Woe, woe unto them that think evil is good and good is evil. That light or dark is light and light is dark, and that sweet is bitter and bitter is sweet." He says woe. Now the word woe does not, we hear it, we say, you know, we're talking about horses, slow down. No, when God uses the word woe, he's talking about people ought to be damned to hell for attacking what is good and what is right and what is light and what is good. And he's not talking about individuals, he's talking about leadership. He uses the word woe only to leaders, not to individuals. And so God is telling us to take a stand, and you know, these people that are on the corner over there have no idea. They have no idea.
Where he was walking to his car, this is in Minneapolis, and somebody frisbeed a hubcap, hit him right in the head and knocked him down. And they're all cheering and laughing. It's like,
what their world would be like without the men in blue, without our Constitution, without an America to stand on, and with godly people and influence. Look, there's one principle that I learned in all of my Christianity, and that is love my neighbor as myself. It's a hard thing to do, and most people don't teach it. It's a fallen philosophy of churches today. But again, if we take back what is ours, and that's to love people as they are and not how we think they have to be, but take a stand for right when we can, and that starts with electing positive people into office. God bless you. See you at the voting lines.
All right. I know a lot of this it's been centering back towards me, but let's talk about what we're here for. We're here to support the people in blue, people in brown. These people literally put their lives on the line the minute they walk out their door in that uniform. And they do it for each and every one of you. And they do it for our Constitution that makes this country so great. And before you leave here today, please make sure you go up, shake their hand, let them know that you support them and how important they are. If you haven't noticed, things have been going really crazy in this state, in this country, period. We have a governor who is taking away rights and freedoms of our citizens. And there's no stop to it. We have a man that's running for president who in an interview about the Second Amendment says there is no amendment to the Constitution that cannot be repealed. Well, if you're just talking about the Second Amendment, why do you say there is no amendment? That tells you they're not going to stop with the Second Amendment. It's going to be the First Amendment, and then it's going to be the Third and the Fourth. They're going to tell you how you can think, how you can act, how you can speak. That's not what this country's about. Far too many people bled themselves out fighting for this country to let someone come in just because they think they have a radical new idea about how to do things. And like I said, most of the people that are supporting this radical new idea are so fresh out of high school they don't even know what real life is. We do. I'm 51 years old. I've got 22-year-old twins. My wife and I have been married for 30 years now. All right? I take things in my life seriously. When I am committed to something, I'm committed to it. My wife and I are best friends in the world. She has been my listening post for nearly 30 years as a police officer. And let me tell you, it had to be about 25 years ago, and it was the dead of winter. And we get a rescue run about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was road supervisor. And police always show up on rescue runs, which are ambulance calls, before the ambulance does because we're already out there on the road. I go walking up on the porch, and there's 6 to 8 inches of fresh snow on this porch when I realize there's a woman sitting back against the door. And she's on the ground in the snow, and I realize she's giving birth. The child is literally coming out. Now, I want to say I was brave and dove in there, but actually I slipped and fell and slid into where I needed to be. But the only instinct I had was, I gotta stop this baby from falling into this snow. All right? Grab the child as soon as it comes out, throw it into my jacket. The ambulance arrives about 5 minutes later. They cut the umbilical cord, say, keep the child there, ride to the hospital with the baby inside your coat. All right, I came home, my wife's like, what did you do to your uniform now? All right, but you know what? It was worth that uniform. That's one of those great moments that we have. And unfortunately, as law enforcement officers, we don't get a lot of those. I was there when a young man, about 10 years of age, was playing basketball with his friends, slipped and fell headfirst into a concrete wall. He died in my arms waiting for an ambulance to get there. Think about these situations. That young man would have died alone on that concrete with no one there reassuring him. That's what police officers do. My wife can tell you, I've come home many times with my uniform completely ripped off of me, beat half to death. And the next morning, get up, throw a new uniform on, get right back out there, because that's what we do. It's not a matter of a job, it's a matter of what's in your heart. Every police officer that puts that badge on, that's how they operate. It's not a matter of I'm making a great career, because a lot of places are certainly making it as cheap as possible to be a police officer, so you have to do it for another reason. It's because it's in your heart and you have that drive to serve the community you live in. After 30 years, I don't know what else to do. That's all I know. I know how to serve my community. My heart is in my community. That's why I am running for state representative. We have a person there now who they claim they've raised $120,000 in grassroots campaigns. That means that they're going out to grandmas and grandpas. They're going out to the teachers that they claim are afraid they don't know where their next paycheck's coming from. They're going to the folks who've been laid off for 3 or 4 months, and they're getting money from these people, and they're putting it into the campaign. But what my opponent's not telling you is he gave away $130,000 back into his own party during that same time. So that means every dime that a grandma or grandpa who are on a fixed income gave to him, he gave away to other people on the other side of the state, or to the party itself. This is a person who claims he supports education. He supports public schools. Yet, his whole lifetime of working in schools has been in a charter school, which are so evil, according to his party. And then he turns around saying that teachers aren't making enough money, they're destitute, and they don't know where the next check is coming from. But then he holds a fundraiser where he makes them pay $25 to $100 a person to watch him on an internet Zoom conference call. Folks, I run on a grassroots campaign, true grassroots campaign. All right, I don't have the railroad companies giving me money like they do to him. He says he's fixing the railroad tracks over on Vreeland, over on the other side in Woodhaven there. Well, the fact is that $12 million he's talking about isn't even half of what it's going to cost to put that underpass through there. But they held a great big press conference for it, didn't they? Made sure everybody knew how great he was, even though the people who really brought that money forward were Pat Somerville, the Republican who was there before him, and the state senator who made that happen. It wasn't him. He took all the credit for it. And he's more than happy to do that. All right, but he doesn't tell you he doesn't have enough money to do it. All right. These are the kinds of things I'm up against. I have someone that will be whatever he needs to be to try and get that vote. I'm one person. I am one thing. I serve my community. I love serving my community. It's who I am. My wife can tell you. I am loyal, and I put the people first. I thank you for your support. I hope you all have a great day. Make sure you get around, shake the hands of these law enforcement officers that are walking around here. Let them know how much you support them. Let's keep this country going. Let's turn the tide. Make sure our Constitution is proven. We need a strong legislature in there. We're at the tipping point. We could literally lose the majority in the House. If we do that, the governor's just going to run roughshod over everything in the state. We've got to stop it. We've got to build a strong community and a better Michigan. Thank you. Protest supporting law enforcement. Nebo said no. They shut down for the day. They didn't want anybody in their lot. Well, they allowed the Shielded Souls, these guys right here, you see these guys, all right, they're law enforcement and military-based motorcycles, okay? These guys do more voluntary work in the communities around here than anybody knows. Everybody just looks at them and says, bikers. No. These guys have the biggest hearts you're ever going to find, all right? Charities that need help, those guys get out there and they do it. When they found out there were going to be protesters here, you see how many of them showed up because they weren't going to let them take this over. All right? That's our brothers in the Shielded Souls. All right? We really appreciate them. We got Mary Combs is here. Mary Combs is from Downriver Girl and Friends. She does a podcast every Monday from 6 to 8. Hits on topics specifically for the Downriver area. Great time, great show. I had the pleasure of being on there twice. Make sure you check it out. There's links on my Facebook page. Come on up, sign up for our signs. When we finally get them out of back order, we'll get the signs out to everybody. Make sure you come on over, say hi to my wife. Yes. She has been my rock in this world and supported me like no one else has ever done. And I've always said there's 3 women in my life that are the most beautiful and strongest women there are. That's the most beautiful and strongest woman I know. Then my daughter and my mom. All right? That woman is a rock, and I love her, and I appreciate every moment with her. So, thank you, folks.
Very much.
You're welcome.
I was trying to hit the high points at least, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Cool. All right, we're going to go see if we can motivate our people or piss somebody off.
All right, have fun, man.